What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday. A little late stream time. Got caught up with some family stuff and just got off rec. And I've had a pretty busy day. And I did not know the news that dropped today until about, 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, Eric?
Yeah.
I asked Eric, what do you want to do for the stream today? And he said, Mike Schmitz. And I was really confused. I was thinking, okay, did he say something about a prospect? Did he say something bad about Chet or something? And then I started thinking, wait, did Eric somehow get into some Twitter beef with Mike Schmitz or something? I'm trying to run through all the possibilities as to why we would just be randomly talking about Mike Schmitz. And it turns out it's some Blazer-related news because we've had a pretty jam-packed offseason in terms of stuff to talk about on some of these streams, with the draft and everything. And I was worried tonight we weren't going to have anything to talk about because our mock off-season draft is tomorrow. That'll be streaming on the main channel. I just dropped a mock draft, so didn't really want to spend a ton of time talking about specific draft stuff tonight. That's what we did on Monday, so if you missed that show, go check it out. So I was going into the show I have no idea what we're going to talk about. But we got some news, and it's some pretty damn cool news. Your Portland Trail Blazers have hired Mike Schmitz, who founded Draft Express. And then ESPN hired him because Draft Express was phenomenal, man. I kind of miss the OG Draft Express days. This dude built himself basically self-made from the ground up. And it's culminated in him being hired as the assistant GM for the Portland Trail Blazers. And he's the head of their scouting department. So pretty cool news. Eric, what did you think about this hiring?
Well, just a correction. I believe it was Jonathan Gaboni who formed Draft Express, and then Mike Schmitz came along later. But
oh, well, so it's like me and you and Blazers Uprise.
yeah, kind of.
I mean,
So I'll be crediting me for creating it, but yeah, I think.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, you pretty much have. We created it together,
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Mike Schmitz and Jonathan Gavoni were both guys that built that from the ground up, built that from nothing. So I have, as somebody that does what I do, obviously I'm nothing like them. I just have a respect for people that, take something that's self-made and build it into something like this. And then seeing that land Mike Schmitz in Portland as the assistant GM is pretty damn cool as a Blazer fan.
P-Town Made says Christian Coloco. Someone let me know where he has him rated on his big board real quick.
Oh my God, Eric's gonna... Oh man, we're gonna parse through his big board and decide if he's good or not. Is that what we're gonna do?
No. Actually, Tori, I have an opposite theory on that. But I'll get to that in a minute. But first, just want to say, in terms of Mike Schmitz, Draft Express was the OG best to ever do its draft coverage website. And ever since they went to ESPN, it's hiding behind a paywall, and it's just not the same. They don't have the same kind of content that they did. Even though Mike Schmitz personally puts in a ton of work still, so it's nothing against him.
When they did Draft Express, they used to have film breakdowns, and they would do it for 60 players, and it was really well done. The closest thing to the way they did it is Hoop Intellect, but that's just one guy, and he does not get them out anywhere near at the rate that those guys do. And then they had a website on top of it that they kept track of. It was really good work, and they put out scouting breakdown film on players for free. And put a ton of time into them and did them for a ton of players, and they didn't make a dime because their stuff got copyright. Their stuff got copyright claimed. And they didn't care. They still put that stuff out for free, tons of hours, and really good insight into their work, man. I had nothing but respect for those guys since those days.
And then you see, it was just universal, just all kinds of people saying how happy they were for Mike today, and a lot of big-time people within ESPN and around the NBA and around college basketball and international, just universally saying what a nice guy he is, hard worker he is, and how happy they are for him to have this opportunity.
Yeah, so I'm absolutely thrilled. just seeing the guy's path and it coming to this point in Portland is pretty damn cool. And I was a little bit worried with who Cronin might fall in love with in this draft. Having somebody like a Mike Schmitz in his ear gives me a lot more confidence going into the draft and makes me, I don't think this means anything in terms of keeping the pick or whatever, but maybe there's more of a chance that Schmitz is able to convince Cronin that there's a guy there worth that 7 that they should draft.
Yeah, I mean, so just to be fair, when you hire someone who is as locked into the draft and who has done as many scouting on all the players as Mike Schmitz has, it's not only for the draft coming up, but he'll go back how many ever years he's been doing it and can bring up all his scouting on any player they are talking about in a trade or like on other teams, or he could tell Cronin players that he think are being underutilized on other teams that maybe Cronin could get for cheap. And like I gave the example earlier today of Jalen Smith, who's a free agent this summer, right? So like he was in the draft 2 years ago, so Schmitz could tell Cronin like, hey, I think there's some hidden potential here. I think it's worth possibly giving him the mid-level exception and banking on that guy panning out as our backup center or whatever next year. Or he could say the complete opposite. It's like, this guy's someone you want to stay away from. I don't think he would fit right in this system, blah, blah, blah. So like it's also, he'll have a complete database on pretty much everyone that's been in the league in the last, 10 years or so. Yeah. So that'll help as well. But I actually do think that this hire only really makes sense if we're planning on at least keeping some of our picks, because like, why hire like someone who's only basically a draft expert if we're not planning on drafting people?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. He has Chet Holmgren #1 on his big board, so I like the hire. You can't say I'm biased. Our assistant GM agrees with me. That's what I'm going to say anytime somebody says I'm biased. But it's interesting looking at the big board, which I don't think is just his. I think it's him and Gavoni put them together.
Yeah.
Cool. Like they cooperate with it. So I don't know what goes into that, but.
So theory.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it was this morning or last night. He had stuff about Dyson Daniels, Keegan Murray, and I forget the other person. Was it Sharp maybe? Mm-hmm. All being rumored in that 4 to 6 range as the picks. Do you think there is a chance that he knew he was being hired, because obviously he would have had to interview prior to today, and has maybe been using his platform to send out some smoke screens so that we get a person to fall? So like him having Keegan Murray higher than some of us maybe is to try and get a team to take him ahead of us, knowing that he was about to accept this job. That would be some next level stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I'm looking through Keegan Murray's big board like write-up that he did March 15th, 2022.
Just throw out there that Dyson Daniels has a promise in the top 7 or something. Yeah. Try to get a team ahead of us to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to even say, man. He's like, for Keegan Murray, he says NBA scouts will have a close eye on whether Murray can take over games like he showed in the Big Ten tournament. This is heading into the NCAA tournament, which then they got upset and Keegan Murray did not play well at all. If he can, that would go a long way in convincing execs that the Iowa star isn't just a high floor NBA starter, but rather that his production is more than a product of Iowa's system, and he belongs in the same conversation as Holmgren and Smith as a member of the draft's elite. So that's what he said about Keegan Murray on March 15th. And then Keegan Murray came into the tournament and struggled, and they got upset. I forgot who they lost to, but Iowa was a team a lot of people liked in the NCAA tournament, and they lost the first round.
Well,
I think it was to Richmond, which was a questionable team. So that's what he said about Keegan Murray, which is kind of along the lines of what I've heard for Keegan Murray. So I don't know if that really gives anything away.
I just meant like today, but anyways.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. Okay. It's just hard to even
So
think about.
Aside from any conspiracy theories, Joey brings up a good point. If he does know about some of these promises, now we know.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Because he can't come out and say to like publicly, "Oh, Dyson Daniels has a promise at 6 or whatever," but like he can tell Cronin that now.
Is there a mock draft that they've done?
I believe they did one right after the lottery last week.
Okay. Which things changed since then, but somebody said that he had Keegan Murray at 4. Huh.
But like you said, I think they do those together, so I'm not sure 100% who's picking who in those.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard to even like fathom and try and think about how this could benefit us. It will benefit us just because I think he's a dude that knows what he's doing, scouting wise. You know, I think you don't just build yourself up the way he's built himself up without really knowing your stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he he has a lot of really good work to fall back on. Like ESPN basically bought out Draft Express because they were doing better draft coverage than ESPN. And a lot of people were
ESPN
going to
had
Draft
like
Express.
Chad Ford, like
yeah,
you never heard about anything he did until his big board at the draft, and it was like, who cares about his big board?
Yeah, exactly. And people were going to Draft Express maybe more than ESPN for that type of stuff because you could go on YouTube and I think it was like every day around this time of year, new film breakdown on someone, and the whole like the graphics were cool and the background music was cool, and you could just watch 12, 13 minutes, and just at that point you know, okay, this guy's strengths are this is what he struggles with, and you know, you could get a foundational groundwork for a player, you know, just having knowledge about a player. Obviously, to have a true understanding of a player, you got to watch them throughout multiple games, and but they broke down film so well that you were able to get a pretty damn good feel for a prospect. So for him to go from that, there's a reason ESPN hired him, is because of the good work that he did, and then to the Blazers is awesome, man. Like that's a pretty cool path. I feel like that'd be you going from this to like then all of a sudden you're on the radio talking about this stuff, and then you're hired somewhere as a cap expert. You know, and then all of a sudden you're in a front office.
I'm Joe Cronin walking around everywhere with my book.
With your CBA book. But, you know what I mean? Like that paths like that are cool, man, because there's a lot of people who maybe get jobs that don't deserve them. You know, that the Mavericks hired a guy who was just a Nike exec. You know what I mean? I don't know how he became a Nike exec. I forgot what that guy's name is, but like I like this hiring compared to doing something as dumb as that.
Well, I mean, just because you haven't heard of him or don't follow him doesn't mean he's not a hard worker, though. I mean, he could be a hard worker. Yeah.
He could be a hard worker, but you know, like just somebody that has done this stuff from the ground up, basically on their own. He's working with Gavoni, but made a name for himself based on his own work, not based on any sort of platform. You know, because that's the thing. You can get hired somewhere and then make a name for yourself because of the platform you're on, where that platform kind of brings you up. He built himself up. You know? He built himself up. He got to ESPN because he made a name for himself.
Yeah.
Not he got to ESPN and then made a name for himself because he has that ESPN. So I love that type of stuff, man. I love that type of stuff. So it's pretty damn cool, the news today.
Yep. So some people are saying that he's not going to join the team until after the draft.
Where'd you hear that?
That's what Chat's saying. I have not seen that specifically.
Chat, can you give
I guess ESPN's
source?
Going to keep him on the draft, but that seems kind of
weird.
Like a conflict of interest or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's in the article, I guess. in the Warriors article.
I'm gonna read it then.
While you're doing that, so
weird.
Joey asked if I'm correct. The Blazers have never drafted an international player. I mean, Arvydas Sabonis, Drazen Petrovic,
Nick Batum.
Well, yeah, Nick Batum. I mean, I count draft day trades as you drafting them because the other team's not drafting them. There's Ha-Sung Jin, Daniel Diaz. Who was the guy we always talk about who couldn't shoot?
Claver.
Yeah. Joel Freeman. Freeland. Yeah. Petteri Koponen. Let's see. Did we draft Sergei Monia or Victor Kriapa?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sergio and Rudy.
Yeah, we've drafted international guys before.
Yeah. That's just off the top of my head, yeah.
So this article says, new Blazers GM Joe Cronin targeted Schmitz to take a lead role in player evaluation and hired him away from ESPN. So this was Joe Cronin reaching out to him. Schmitz has a vast array of scouting and player relationships and deep prospect knowledge across multiple continents that Cronin expects will play a significant role in shaping the Blazers roster. Schmitz is expected to remain with ESPN through the June 23rd NBA draft and formally begin his duties with Portland in July. The Blazers have the 7th overall pick in the 2022 draft. Schmitz, 32, has been blah, 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 has been ESPN draft analyst. He worked as 32? Okay. Yeah, he's only 32. He's worked as a video coordinator with the Bakersfield Jam, which is a G League team, in 2012 to 2013. He also serves as an assistant coach for the Ugandan national team.
Cool.
So, you know, a little bit of background coaching and video coordinator, that sort of thing. But, I mean, he'll formally begin his duties in July. Is there anything stopping him from...
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
he's going to be in contact. Like, I find it hard to believe that they won't have a clearer vision at what they want to do with each pick, depending on how it breaks down from him before it comes over. Yeah. So
yeah, like,
I mean, they're not just going to go with whatever pick he wants. It's still ultimately Cronin's decision.
Yeah, obviously.
But I don't see how there's any way that Schmitz will just be like, oh, okay, you guys did the draft by yourself. Now here I am after the draft. That makes no sense.
Yeah, so. I think they'll slip by certain guys that they're maybe not sure on. Like, there should be. If they don't, then I don't understand why. They should definitely be slipping things by him and trying to formulate as good of a plan as possible with some of his input provided, with him still being at ESPN through the draft. So,
Antonio, $2 donation, says biggest upgrade will be the international aspect, and we know that through Mike Schmitz videos that he's always going overseas and watching some random player you've never heard of and giving his scouting report on him and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully this is what they meant when Cronin mentioned that they wanted to hire another, not only an assistant GM, but another international scout, and that hopefully they'll have a much better grasp on that, because honestly, a lot of the best players in the NBA now are international players, and you have to have a firm grasp on how those players are.
Yep, agreed. And then shout out Andrew Perez, $5 dono, says, sheesh. Anyway, thank you for the donos. What do you want to talk about next? I mean, I don't know how much left there is to talk about Mike Schmitz. As exciting as it is for me just to see this dude's path end up here, not a ton more to really break down in this regard.
Yeah, I guess we could take questions.
Yeah, we'll just take questions. We'll have a mock off-season draft tomorrow on the main channel. So as far as draft stuff, we talked about a lot of draft stuff on Monday. So after this stream is done, you can go watch that back if you're curious. And then the stream tomorrow will go live 5:30 p.m. Is that what I set it for? Or did I set it? I think I set it later than that. Let me check.
Yeah,
Let me check whatever it is in the guide sheet.
Okay. And we might want to send out a reminder to everyone because I'm sure half
we should.
league does not know.
Yeah. So let me look at the guide sheet. May 27th, 7 p.m. Pacific time is when we'll go live. And we'll try and get the whole first round done. A lot of people have the same first round picks and whatnot. But we're not expecting the whole draft to play out. So after that, it'll take place in Discord. We'll just message people when they're up. But yeah, we'll have a mock off-season draft. If you don't know what the mock off-season is, we have me, Eric, and 28 others running teams and running through an off-season and trading stuff and whatnot. So.
Aeromancer, give us your top 30 or whatever pick you have. Give us your top. If you have pick 16, give us your top 16 or whatever, and we'll just pick the highest one.
Or trade your pick to me if you want. Speaking of our mock off season, we got 3 of our mods, Eric, in a trade call right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we got 3 of our mods in a trade call, abandoning their duties. Trevin's here. Thank you, Trevin. You've risen up the mod
Zach
rankings.
Was here earlier.
Yeah, but we got 3 of them in a trade call. So, anyway, Alex Wolf, I don't think Cleveland has 14 in our mock off-season draft. Our mock off-season draft order is completely out of whack, so there's a lot of picks have been traded.
I think he's talking about in real life, but
I like Branham for them at 14 in real life.
Yeah, I like Branham or Abaji, whatever one's left on the board.
Yeah, I think Branham has to be over Abaji. I just think he has a little bit more upside for them in terms of just doing things off the dribble. So that's why I had Branham there at 14.
Sven says Schmitz has a video session with Usman Jang not too long ago. He actually has a video session with a ton of players because he sat down with several of them at the Combine too. So yeah, within the last week he has all kinds of videos with current players.
And you can tell players respect him because he's going through things that normally they don't talk to media about. He's talking about secondary reads and that sort of thing. When I think, if we talked to a player and talked about some basketball stuff, it'd be more complicated than they're used to, more in depth than they're used to. And I would want it to, we're not showing film or anything, so it wouldn't quite be like what he does, but it's really cool to see him go through film with a prospect and he's able to point out some detailed, complicated things on the floor and ask really good questions based off of them. So, as a player, if I'm, coming up and then I get the chance to do an interview like that, I'd have nothing but respect for that guy compared to a lot of other media, which is just chasing, storylines and narratives, and that's all they care about.
Like Chet the other day getting asked if he actually does eat or work out.
Somebody actually asked that?
Yeah. And he's
Is that where he said?
Yeah, I eat and I definitely lift weights or something. He was cool about it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's dude, of course. You think he's just staying skinny for fun? Like,
yeah.
I mean, he's gained some muscle since the start of the year, too. Like, it's obvious that he's not doing nothing. And that's the thing. When you get older, it's easier to put on muscle. It's also easier to put on fat, That's just how it is, unfortunately. But, yeah. Chet's pretty cool. Chet's pretty funny. So questions. We'll take a few questions. I'm not going to go super long with this stream.
And yeah, if you're watching this and you're in the mock-off season but cannot make the draft tomorrow night, make sure you send either myself or Tori your big board and we can draft the highest player available at your pick.
Yeah, I won't look at your big board until you send it to me. You can make one on Fanspo. Fanspo has a draft big board creator, and you could share the link with us if you wanted. Or you could just send it through Discord. But Fanspo, just make sure you don't forget a guy because you have to drag them all from the left over to the right and then sort them, so it's easy to forget a guy. So anyway, which international guy in the second round should we take? I wouldn't target an international guy specifically. So
take the best player, yeah. But
yeah,
I mean, if we keep all the picks, I don't have a problem with stashing someone. That's fine. But yeah,
Procida is the guy that's intriguing me right now.
It's the same group of guys that we've been talking about for months.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed there.
Yeah, Procida is the guy that's intriguing me. Antonio says 58th. Well, we either have, if you count the forfeited picks, we have 59th. If you don't count them, then we have 57th. Well, so
we have the 57th selection either way. So
yeah.
What's up, Brandon?
Lakers fan wants to know what we thought of Terry Stotts during his time as a Blazers head coach. You joined too late. You didn't join during the Lakers days, or not the Lakers days, the Terry Stotts days, Max, the Lakers fan. We were known as the Terry Stotts haters. We were known as the Terry Stotts haters. We couldn't stand him. He'd be a great hire for you guys, though, if you want to watch Russell Westbrook isolate 25 times a game.
Dro asked, can we make trades while the draft is going on? Of course, man. This is a realistic mock offseason. You can take a little bit of time to work out trades. I just ask that if you're going to do that, you at least let one of us know to hold up a second. I'm working on a trade or possible trade scenario.
Yep. Some people have contingencies depending on who falls where. Like, if a certain player isn't available at this pick, then that pick is getting traded to someone else. Which happens in real life, I think, too. So, yeah, you can definitely move picks around during the draft. I'll probably be trying to move picks around during the draft while I'm streaming the draft. So, I'm just sitting here with 2. I want more. Eric's sitting with 9 and 11 and 40. So, FTO Maladon. Trevin's such a troll.
Isaac says he likes Benedict Mathurin, but I really, really hope he has a growth spurt. I mean, his measurements were really good, but yeah, you have to get really lucky to have a growth spurt at past 18. I mean, it happens, but to hope for it or bank on it is just like a random lucky thing. So I would just act like no one's gonna grow from this point.
Yeah. For Mike Schmitz' most recent big board, he likes AJ Griffin much more than Benedict Mathurin and mentions the Blazers specifically for him. How unhappy would you be if we took AJ over Mathurin? I would be unhappy, but I wouldn't be... Honestly, if we took AJ Griffin, there's a chance we could get an interview because I know somebody that knows him. So, I mean, maybe that would be cool. But in terms of for the team, if he could be the athlete he was in high school and not have injury issues, I'd be down for it. But he had a knee injury, and his athleticism in college was not what it was in high school. He was not the athlete in college that he was in high school. I think if he could get back to having the quick twitch and the athleticism he had in high school, he could probably be a little better defensively, and then a little better off the dribble, and then obviously he can shoot the hell out of the ball. So it's a question mark with, can he get back to being the athlete that he was in high school after the injury that he dealt with, which kind of slowed him down. That's why he also had a slow start to the season. And then also, what does he have the length to play the 3? He didn't measure it at the combine, so that's a question mark for me with him. So that's why I like Mathurin more.
Just to wonder, you're hitting something a lot.
I'm hitting my chair.
It's making a lot of noise.
I'm emphasizing my point.
Yeah, I'd probably be a little upset too, but you have to keep in mind, it's still, 4 weeks from tonight till the draft? So players haven't even gone to teams to work out yet, stuff like that. So much can change. At this point in the draft, process, in Damian Lillard's draft, he still was not an unknown, but he hadn't had that surge up into the 6th range yet until he started impressing in workouts and things like that. So much can still change with all these guys. So yeah, I don't read anything into anything that someone has said prior to this, because like any good GM or good assistant GM now, you have to take in all the information, and you should be willing to change your opinion based on every new bit of information that comes in.
Yeah. Yep. Oh wow, I'm seeing a picture of Chet Holmgren next to Dirk Nowitzki. Pretty cool.
Yeah, he was at the game tonight.
Chet's like 2 inches taller than him. Dude, I wish Chet measured. Anyway.
It would have been funny. He should have just done it.
I know. Like, it's not going to hurt you. You're right. Obviously at least 7 foot, if not 7'1", without shoes. Like, he stands next to 7-footers and looks taller than them. So it would have been really interesting to see. But, yeah, what other questions? I don't know. I'm just kind of... not much to talk about other than what happened.
Do you think the Warriors are going to win the championship?
Celtics are going to win the championship.
I said Warriors a few weeks ago, so I'll just stick with them.
I was on the Celtics going into the conference finals. I'm going to stick with them. They're up 3-2. They took care of business. Miami can't score the freaking basketball, so I'm going with Boston. And I should have stuck to like Warriors in 4 or 5 against the Mavericks. I said 6 to try and give the Mavericks more credit. But yeah.
The most random question ever. Do you think Kostas Antetokounmpo will play in the NBA again? I'm going to say no.
Probably not. I don't know.
I mean, Giannis is still like barely hanging around, so
if Giannis makes him, then sure.
If he demands.
Yeah, we're looking for Give us questions. This is gonna be a Q&A for the final like 10 minutes, and then we're probably gonna sign off. I still got some things to do, and then I'll drop a draft profile tonight.
You think Sexton gets re-signed by the Cavs?
Depends on if they can get a starting shooting guard that they like. If they draft like Branham and really like Branham, then I could see them moving on from Sexton. Sexton just doesn't make sense with what you got. You got Garland. You don't need Sexton next to Garland.
Mm-hmm.
You go out and get a better defensive 2. You already are really good defensively at the 4 and 5. Offensively, I think Mobley will develop. They should just try and be the best 2-way team, you know? They should try, like, they have a chance if they make the right moves over the next couple of years to be a team that's a top 5 defensive team and push in top 5 offensively. Because Garland has progressed a lot. Mobley, I think, will become an all-star caliber player on the offensive end, let alone the defensive end. And then if you can draft the right 3-and-D guys that can maybe do a little bit off the dribble, that's why I like Branham for him, then you're looking at something, potentially a contender, you know, potentially Memphis, the way Memphis was this year. So Sexton doesn't really fit into that for me because he hijacks the offense too much. He doesn't really play in the flow of things. Defensively at the 2, he's a negative. You don't need somebody like him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He could go somewhere, like a team, there could be a team out there that really needs a third guard that can score. And he could be perfect for, right? Like, he obviously can really score the ball, but he doesn't really fit in Cleveland anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I still think, though, just letting him walk isn't necessarily the right thing. So maybe if you can work out some sort of sign and trade, that makes sense. You'd take it. Or worst case scenario, I think you try to re-sign him to a reasonable contract and then look to move him when his contract becomes eligible to be traded during the season before the deadline, and then just kind of hope you recuperate some of his value, because right now it's kind of at an all-time low. So they probably should have traded him last offseason, but didn't do that. So yeah, I think they have to find a way to still get some value from him, but I could also see him walking, just being done with him.
Yep. Antonio, would you offer MLE to Grant Williams? At this point, yeah, but he is not leaving Boston.
Well, he's not a free agent either.
I don't think he's a free agent either, yeah. So, XC Dame liked to Dort and Grant to Portland post on Twitter. Yep, he likes both those guys, wants both those guys to play with him next year. That's not really a secret, to be honest, so not surprised there. Let's see. Should the Hornets consider putting JT Thor in their rotation? I'm sure.
I don't think so. Thor is still he was always going to be a long-term prospect type guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's quite ready for the rotation yet, but if he is on any kind of style, I think like an up-tempo style with a mellow ball would be the right place to play him, but I just don't think he's ready yet, and that was more of a long-term pick.
Can Josh Primo play with Keldon Johnson? I don't see why he couldn't.
It's not like they play the same position, so yeah.
Yeah. Jeremy Sohan or Paulo Banchero? Come on, Trevin. Trevin's turning into too much of a Sohan fan. Definitely Banchero. Trevin has the 5th pick in tomorrow's mock off-season draft. That's going to be interesting. I don't know why he traded up to 5.
Well, he got good value.
He got good value, but I mean, now it's like, is he gonna reach on him? I don't know. Anyway, what has been the most recent trade you guys have vetoed in our mock off season? Ask Alvaro. Eric, what has been the most recent trade to be vetoed?
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but the most recent trade that I had to veto got reworked slightly. It's still awful for one team, but I had to allow it because some other stuff got thrown in, and I said if they did that I couldn't keep vetoing it as much as the person who was getting absolutely hammered in the trade keeps saying that he wants to do it, so whatever.
Yeah, I know it. Trade, yeah. Probably not the juice that Alvaro wanted with that answer. He wanted more juice than that. But PJ Washington or Jeremy Grant, who would you rather have on the team next year? Without, like, say the acquisition cost was even.
If the acquisition cost is even, I would say Grant at this point. Even though I'm worried about his extension, I don't like. PJ Washington's probably a lot cheaper to sign to an extension. But I'd say Grant has the better chance at helping us more and playing more in our roster.
Yeah. Problem is acquisition cost for Grant is probably more than PJ Washington. So,
I mean, if it's a first or either one, I don't know.
Yeah. Milwaukee first. Would you rather... Aeromancer try to leak our trade discussions. Would you rather have James Bouknight or Jalen Johnson in the 26th pick?
I'm not gonna tamper.
Yeah, don't tamper. But if you're a team that needs a guard, I'd rather have James Bouknight. If you're a team that needs a forward, I'd rather have Jalen Johnson in the 26th overall pick.
I just gotta say, I love Tori's negotiating in trades.
Bro,
Can I say what you told me about?
Yeah, I forgot. I don't even remember what I told you.
Tori was trying to trade me Bouknight, and he said that the Hornets value him as being a top 10 pick in this draft if he was in this draft instead of last year, and I just got a kick out of that.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
When did I say that?
I don't know. You're trying to upsell him.
Well, I mean, he was the 11th pick last year, and he was projected top 10.
Yeah.
So, not a terrible reach. I don't even remember saying that.
You got to keep his value. I understand why you said it. I just found it funny.
I mean, he's still,
Like you're trying to sell. That was to me. Like, I understand if you're saying that to Ben or something, but.
I mean, I don't even remember saying that. I don't know where you got that from. I don't know if that's true or not. I have to look back.
I'll leak the DM.
Yeah, leak the DM, please. So, just to prove it to me. But, bro, Bouknight just didn't get a chance to play last year because Charlotte has so many guards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they took him at 11 because he was easily the best player on the board at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And just didn't get to play because of the guards. So, I mean, I'm not going to say why I'm trying to trade him, but it's like I'm not going to trade him for 2 seconds or something. I've offered him to a number of teams that I think need guards, and I've offered really good value in my opinion. Like, less than what you said I was, and no, dude, everybody's being so stingy with the first round picks in our mock off season this year. I've hyped up
except for OKC.
The problem is it's all the same people. Like, OKC has 5 firsts now. You have 2, like, back-to-back. You have 9 and 11. OKC has 7, 12, 15, 16, and 23. I mean, that's kind of my fault. I traded 3 of those up so I could get up to 2 as Charlotte. But Indiana has 6, 14, 18. You have 9 and 11. The Rockets have 17 and 21. Spurs have 20 and 25. Like, Wizards have 10 and 22. It's all the same teams. And it's difficult, man. Because none of them need a guard. So. Because Jalen Noel. Anyway. That's been my struggles in the mock-off season lately.
Would Keon Johnson be a first-round pick this year?
He'd be
very borderline.
I think he'd be a first-round pick this year.
Man, watching your mock draft today,
yeah,
it's amazing how much, in my mind, this draft went to falling off a cliff after like pick 18 or so to like, wow, that guy's still going to be like one of these 10 guys is still going to be there at 57 most likely, like
yeah. Is that what you used to think as it fell off a cliff after 18 or yeah, I think that's what a lot of people thought.
Well, I mean, everyone says like all year, oh, there's only 3 or 4 guys. It's a 3 or 4 guy draft, and I always push back against that. I thought
it never is.
I was never really high on second round picks until about like 3 months ago, and I started to like, a handful of guys a lot.
Yeah.
But then there's also guys who I don't really like, but I know they're going to be picked in the late first, early second round range.
Who are those guys?
Well, I mean,
I'm starting to like everyone in the second round, man.
I don't know. Just, it's not that I don't like them. It's just like a Wendell Moore or the Reels guy.
Reels?
Keels, sorry.
Oh, Keels, yeah.
Like those guys. Yeah, I'm just thinking about from like Portland's perspective. Like they don't make.
See, I had those in my first mock draft like over a month ago. I had both those guys falling than they were being projected. They just feel like fallers to me. Both those guys.
But like those kind of guys, like I'm not saying I hate them. I actually like both of them. But like I'm just like I wouldn't necessarily draft them though because I just don't know where to put them or whatever. Yeah. And like so I could see them being like in the 20s or I could see them being like late second rounders. And there's going to be a ton of like Trent and Watford type players I feel like this year that go undrafted because there's just so many guys that not all of them are going to get drafted, especially with 2 less picks.
I think with the second to last pick in the draft that we have, I think we're going to be able to get good value with that for like a second two-way. Yeah. And if it's a good enough player that we sign him to a normal contract, then we should go find an undrafted free agent that is a two-way. Basically, let me just say this. If CJ Ellaby's on the freaking team next year, I'm going to be pissed off with how deep this draft is. Like, I could think of 10 guys that'll probably go undrafted that I'd rather have than CJ Ellaby at this point.
Yeah.
Like, let me just go to his big board. And now it won't show up anything. They took it down. Just kidding. There it is. Like if I go down to in the 50s, like Procita's in the 50s. He's 52. I would rather have him. Dominic Barlow, they still have at 51. He's not going to fall that far, but I'd rather have him. Keon Ellis at 64. Could be a good 3-and-D guy that could guard 1 through 3.
Didn't he measure at like 6'2", though?
Did he measure at 6'2"? I thought he was taller than that. I don't know what his measurement
he was listed at 6'6" at Alabama or something, and then I want to say he measured like very small.
That would make sense why he's fallen, because I'm thinking of him as 6'6".
I was a Keon Ellis as like for a good team that just needs like a 3-and-D role player, but I think I want to say he measured really bad.
He's 6'3.5" without shoes.
Yeah.
So he's 6'4", that rounds up to 6'4".
He can't
8'6" standing reach. He's a little undersized to play the 3.
He can't handle the ball at all, really, though. So he's just like, yeah.
But I mean, like, he's one of those guys, like, he moves pretty well, athleticism-wise. Mm-hmm. Like, he's solid, he's fluid, and he can knock down threes and he can defend. So if you can teach him, how to handle the ball a little bit with the way he moves, like, he can be a sleeper. I think that part of his game would be developable if he ends up in the right coach. So, like, that's the thing, is there's going to be prospects that go undrafted where it's like, I would rather bank on Keon Ellis coming in and just, learning how to dribble and being a 3-and-D guy that can then handle the ball, and thinking like, okay, he already moves decently. If you can just add some ball handling to that and help him, make better reads and that sort of thing. I'd rather bank on that than banking on CJ Ellaby becoming whatever the hell he's supposed to be becoming. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much to work on with him. And he's not a good athlete. Like, I just don't... I don't know. Like, I think Keon Ellis would already be a better shooter from day one and an equal defender, and I don't think CJ Ellaby... Like, what does CJ Ellaby do better than him?
Nothing, really.
Yeah, like, that's kind of where I am. Is if
maybe
I put CJ
rebounding.
Yeah, this is what we're counting on a 2-guard for.
Hustle, I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta stretch for it, so...
So Jake says, I like Jabari Walker a good bit at 59. Man, I'd take him at 36.
Yeah, and he's listed 74th on this big board. Yeah. And you have John Butler at 72 as a 7'1" guy that can shoot. I don't know if you want to talk more about Jabari Walker. Go ahead.
I really like Jabari Walker's fit on this team if he's there at 36. I also like the Arkansas's Jalen Williams. I think would be perfect in Chauncey's system. So if he falls to either 36 or 57, maybe, I think that's huge. That would be a guy who could be a plug-and-play big right away, and I think he would work really well with Trendon Watford as kind of our back, like, secondary front court, But yeah.
I would even rather have Trevion Williams than CJ Ellaby. I know you don't like Trevion Williams, but that dude can pass if he can just shoot.
Yeah, Swanigan could pass.
Yeah, I mean, Swanigan wasn't that good of a passer, though. Like,
he was pretty good in college.
He was good, but he wasn't Trevion good. Mm-hmm. Trevion's... I mean, the dude can pass the hell out of the ball and is skilled offensively. But that's the type of guy you take late second. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is like Swanigan couldn't control his weight. I think Trevion is a little bit... You don't have those worries, and then he's a little bit more quick twitch. Which isn't saying much, and Trevion Williams is not a quick twitch guy at all, but I think he's a little bit more fluid of an athlete than a Caleb Swanigan, who's just freaking clunky when he was out there on the court. So, like, he's borderline draftable for me, Trevion Williams is. Because he can definitely pass, and that's going to be a good skill, and he can finish around the rim. If he can just figure out how to shoot, then he's a energy big with some offensive skills that you just bring off the bench, and maybe you have enough defensively around him where he doesn't really hurt you. But, like, that's the thing, is I'd rather bank on, something like that than continue to bank on CJ Ellaby when it's like, did he even improve from year 1 to year 2?
Well, I mean... If that's what we're talking about, I'd pretty much take any rookie.
Yeah, I'm just making my point. You know what I mean? Like, I hope, even though we have 3 picks, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't look to even add a 4th rookie who goes undrafted if it's like between them or CJ Ellaby. Mm-hmm. Like I want 4 rookies next year. I want one of them on a 2-way, and then I want our 3 draft picks. Because look at what you turned Trendon Watford into.
At this point, I'm happy with 2.
Yeah. I mean, if you get... Like, that's the thing. You got the second to last pick in the draft, and then undrafted guys. If you can get another, like, Trendon Watford type of guy with those 2 chances, just get 1 player of that caliber, you got an asset, and you got a piece that maybe in a couple years can be in your rotation. You don't have to sign somebody to. You don't have to waste an MLE on one spot. You can use it on another spot. That's the thing when you can get cheap guys like that. Because Trent Watford's going to be cheap for the next 3-4 years, and he could be in the rotation even next year. Then, or he could be good enough next year. I don't know how the rotation's going to look like, but then all of a sudden you have a lot more to spend on other positions, and you can consolidate things to try and get better at one spot. It gives you more flexibility by being able to just get unheralded guys, undrafted guys, borderline undrafted guys late in the second that end up turning into something.
Yeah.
So, shoot, he has Orlando Robinson at 82, Vince Williams at 84.
Does it say when that was last updated?
I don't know when it was, because he's kind of low on. I don't think it's been updated in a while, but he has Jalen Williams and Dalen Terry 23 and 24, so I feel like it's pretty recent. And Dyson Daniels is at 6, so it seems pretty recent, at least for the top. I really want Jalen Williams. That's the guy I want on this team. I wish we had like a later second, or a later first, but
you think he's the one to break the low box plus minus curse?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's predicted like every player that's been below that. I don't think Reese is in here, but it's like if you have a box plus minus below 7, you're in the first round. You're like a guaranteed bust, pretty much.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's the thing is like when there's been 10 guys that have been busts and not a single guy who's worked out with a statistical profile like that, then I mean that is a pattern. But I don't know, like he's the guy at Santa Clara. When I'm watching him, I'm trying to envision him being a role player.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the thing is, a lot of those guys that end up being bust couldn't really do much with the ball, it seemed like. Didn't really have legitimate ball skills or anything. Like, it was like an Earl Clark and a Tony Snell, and who are some of the other names on that?
I'm trying to find it.
So, like, that's the thing, is when you have a stat like that, I think you gotta try and find, okay, what traits do these players have in common that cause them to bust out of the league, and then you can compare them to a Jalen Williams.
If anyone has that tweet, it's like Joe Alexander and
yeah. Thoughts on Vince Williams? In my draft sleepers video I dropped like 3 weeks ago, I talked about him. I like him. I think he's a second round value that is projected undrafted, which surprises me. Because he can defend and he can make a little bit and he can shoot the ball really well. 3-and-D guy that's the thing, you have a ton of 3-and-D guys with some off the dribble upside. He's one of the older prospects, which I guess is why he's going to go undrafted, but did he even measure? He wasn't even invited to the combine, was he?
Who?
Vince Williams.
He measured, I think he was in the elite camp, so he measured there.
Okay.
I think he measured small.
Vince Williams, junior elite measurements.
So here's the list. Jason Thompson, Adrian Payne, Torian Prince, Jordan Hill, Jerome Robinson, Joe Alexander, Larry Sanders, Earl Clark, and Tony Snell.
Yeah, see, like, none of those guys really had super great ball skills, and Jerome Robinson was looked at as a bust at 13 when he was drafted. Like, when they drafted Jerome Robinson at 13, that was one of the more surprising lottery picks. Because he was projected late first. That was like a primo lottery pick. Elite draft combine measurements. I need to look up these measurements.
And then, they're saying, because he was a junior, right?
Who?
Jalen Williams.
Yeah, I think so.
They're saying Ayo and Corey Kispert both had a lower than 7 box plus minus before making a huge jump than their last season, so they would have qualified for it, but didn't. So they're questioning whether he would have made another jump into the plus 7 that they're comparing him to for some of these guys who want.
That's where. Yeah, that's where you just gotta, like advanced stats can be helpful, but that's a guy where you just got to see what's in front of you, I think. And the dude can do it all. Defensively, you might be questionable, but
I can't do trades right now while I'm on stream, man.
What's he? He's trying to get you to do what? Put something through. We'll put it through if it's you trading me your first round pick. Otherwise,
it's not. I mean, it's a valid trade. I just.
I'm trying to find Vince Williams measurements and I can't. Huh. And of course, NBADraft.net is broken.
Thanks to Gray Hughes Investigates for the $5 donations. He says, so it sounds like we're officially less depressed about the draft now. Boom. Yeah. Hopefully this means we can be less depressed about it.
I mean, yeah, it depends on what we do. But, yeah, like, we weren't going to stay depressed forever.
Thoughts on Kenny Lofton? Do you have any thoughts on him?
I just don't see how he's anything but a bad defender in the NBA.
Dude, he's got such great footwork and like high basketball IQ. Like, love his game. I just don't see how like a 6'5" guy who weighs that much is going to do well in the NBA.
If he was 6'11", he'd probably be a first round pick.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like because he has ball skills and he has good footwork and showed off a 3 at the combine. He's just one of those guys where it's like he needs to lose weight, and I don't know if it could just be his body type, but like he needs to lose weight and become more of a wing player instead of a. I don't even know how to describe his game. I don't even know what I could compare his game to. He's a very unique
he posts
player.
Up though too.
Yeah. Quicker, shorter Drew Timmy. Quicker, shorter, bigger Drew Timmy. I don't know, man.
No, he's like a poor man's Zion, with like shorter than Zion though. Without, yeah.
See, I think Roddy is a poor man's Zion. But he doesn't really play much like Zion. He can shoot.
Joe's giving up all his sleepers in chat if you're paying attention.
Mario Nokic. Vince Williams, thanks Jake Carey. 6'5.5" in shoes, 7 foot wingspan, 8'7" standing reach. See, that's about.
Something.
Yeah, that's a little bit less. That's a little bit shorter than I thought. So slightly undersized 3. So yeah, I mean he's probably a late second then. I think he was going to measure a little better than that.
Rahi links don't show up in chat, so whatever you're sending isn't coming through.
Yep. But Vince Williams would be a type of guy that I wouldn't mind signing as an undrafted 2-way. Or taking with the second to last pick in the draft. I'd be very okay with that because he can shoot and he plays defense.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of he can pass the ball a little bit. So in an offense that moves the ball, I think he could fit in.
Dro, I'll have you know that I drafted Zombor Moronka in the draft last year.
Yeah, who is Dro trying
I don't need to watch film on anyone that you've mentioned because I've known every single player you've mentioned today, even though you're trying to act like we're all casuals and know nothing about any international projects and only you have heard of them.
He's trying so hard, man. Oh, they got it on a sheet of paper. Okay. What
Wow,
did
you guys
Jabbar?
going on 3 hours plus? It's actually only been an hour, but
Yeah, and we're probably gonna get off very soon.
okay.
Unless you want to go for 3 hours.
No, just never mind.
What?
No, I'm not gonna say it because
What?
no, I don't want someone.
Wait,
to clip
bro,
it,
you say that and then
so.
you no.
I don't want someone to clip it.
Oh God, why are you gonna? I'm just about to end stream because I want to know, and you're gonna tell me once we're off air.
No, it's just one of those Tory things that is going to be taken a different way. And now you pushed it. No,
Chat, what is this dude talking about?
Aeromancer's gonna clip it, so you'll see it.
Chat, what is this dude? Does anybody know? Oh, okay, Bonnie, thanks. Eric has a 10-year-old mind,
No,
I guess.
you said both.
I said what?
Nothing. No. He didn't say your, he said we're. We're.
So what?
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing.
This dude needs
You know
to...
half my chat feels the same.
Oh my god, Eric has a dirty mind. Alright, that wasn't even that bad. Oh my goodness. Trust me, I could say worse. That could be taken out of context than that. Right. You know that.
Yeah. So Dro says they're acting like I'm trying to educate them when I'm literally just saying names. LOL, goofy. Exact quote from Dro. Eric and Tori, watch some film on Zombor Maronka. How is that you just listing names and not telling us to look someone up?
Yeah,
that's the exact opposite of what you're saying, dude. Come on, Dro.
Dude, Dro is something, man. That's all I'm gonna say about Dro. Is he's something. He is something. Best free agents we could actually get. TJ Warren on a max. Honestly, I don't.
I mean, Emily.
Nope, not a max.
We don't have a max.
Well, we cut everybody to sign TJ Warren to a max. Honestly, free agent stuff, I'm gonna hold off until like right after the draft to really dive deep into that. There's not a ton of very intriguing names, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats.
Probably deserved it, Madden Mobile. This dude, Madden Mobile, comes in and he's like, so can you guys repeat your thoughts on Mike Schmitz? I missed the first half. Like, he can't just go back and watch his...
Yeah, and then he leaves, and then he comes back 30 minutes later. I got banned off 2K. I don't know really anything about Khalifa Diop, honestly. Like him and Zosa, however you say his name, I haven't done my research on them.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are... I mean, if you want to project bigs, there's several international guys you could take in the second round. But yeah.
Yep. Anyway, anything else you want to say for this stream?
No, thanks everyone for watching. If you're interested in watching the draft, tune in tomorrow on the main channel, and hope to see you all there. And if not, we'll catch you Monday.
Yep, Chiefin, hell no, I'm not going to get you any Del Taco. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. We will catch you with a stream tomorrow if you make it on the main channel. Doing our mock off-season draft. If you want to look at some of the trades that's been made in our mock off-season, join our Discord, our main Discord. There's a thread with mock off-season trades. And we will have a thread with mock off-season draft picks and mock off-season signings. So go join the main Discord. Link is now in the chat, and I will also toss it in the description. Anyway, have a good rest of your nights. Shout out to the Blazers for making a good front office move, Eric.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll
bye, Carson.
Yeah, bye. Hi, Carson. Bye, Carson. You missed the stream. Well, you made it for the outro, so at least you made it for something. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.